Everyone. This is Kwabi. Welcome to another episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. And I have a fabulous guest today. Her name is Lorraine Ladish. How are you?
Very happy that you said it right. A lot of people mistake the C in the middle and they say Lorraine Cladish. And I was bracing for that and you said it right.
No. No, I'm very,
Well,
I
thank
try
you.
to pronounce people's name because I have an unusual name. And so I always
I know.
make because I
Yeah.
know because name is a very personal thing. So I want to make sure. And if I'm not sure, I normally ask my guests before I come on, like, how am I, how is it pronounced to make sure it's pronounced correctly? So yes. So tell the viewers, how old are you?
59.
Yeah.
59 and 4 months. Because I'm already doing the countdown for how I'm gonna celebrate my 60th, because it sounds like
Yes.
something
I think
something
that's
to be celebrated. So
of course. I think once you hit 50 and over, actually every birthday should be celebrated, but most especially after you hit 50, because not everyone gets to this age. I mean,
not everybody, not
no.
everybody. I lost one of my best friends, no, my best friend 4 years ago to cancer. She will
Oh,
never be my age. And, that is a big, when I do things, sometimes I think of her. If ever I feel like, oh,
oh,
I'm going to complain. No, 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 Belinda's not here. And so I do things in her honor and that helps me keep
oh,
going.
I love that. So tell the listeners a little bit about your story. I mean, you have a very interesting story. So just tell the listeners a little bit about that.
Okay, so I don't want to do what I did the other day in the Instagram live where I think I ended up speaking way too much, because in 59 years there's a lot to talk about. So what part of my story do you want
All
me
right.
to
So
talk
talk about how
about?
you started embracing aging. Like, was it in the beginning? Was it something you're like, oh yes, I'm
No,
good with this?
I always
Exactly.
loved it.
That's where I want to begin. Hmm.
Okay, thank you. When I was young, I grew up seeing my very young father, who had me at 24, complain about his age. And I remember
Mm.
that we were going to school and he was playing Pomps and Circumstances, da, da, da. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like I asked my grandmother in Spain, abuelita, papá va a cumplir 40. Is he going to turn 40? And she's like, oh no, he's going to kill you. He was like 30 or something, like some ridiculous thing like that. And so I resolved to never be that person who complained about aging, because I grew
Mm.
up seeing that and I was like, this just seems like a big waste of time.
Yes.
And so when I was young and I had a very severe eating disorder that
Mm.
lasted 20 years, of course it was much
Mm.
better in the last 10 years than the first 10, but
Yeah.
major depressive disorder. I grew up without a
Mm.
mother, which, I don't know, I kind of tried to help myself and just help myself up, find solutions
Yeah.
for my depression, for my eating disorder, for
Yeah.
everything. And so when I had my kids late. The first one was when I was 38. I always say it
Mhm.
wrong. 38, 37 to turn 38, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
And then 40 to turn 41. So
Mhm.
I was not thinking about, oh my goodness, I'm so old, because I wasn't kids. I was doing life,
Yeah.
And at 45, I lost absolutely everything to the
Mm.
recession. I walked away from an unhappy marriage that I really did my best to try and salvage. I always make that point because I feel that, coming from a broken family myself, I always thought if I ever have to take this step, it's going to be after, trying absolutely everything
Yeah.
in my power to make this work. It did not.
Mm.
And so I did the best thing, which was teach my kids that it was okay to walk away from an
Yes.
unsustainable circumstance. And but I did it at 45. I had no money. I had debt. I had no work. Two
Yeah.
little kids who were, how old were they? 4 and 7 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was on welfare.
Where were you living at
And
the time?
in Florida, I was
Oh, you're
here.
in Florida.
I
Okay.
moved from Spain to Florida when I was 41. So, I mean,
Oh,
I've
okay.
done so many things, like starting
Yeah.
over when I was older, that I don't think I ever stopped to think, oh man, is this too late? Right.
Right.
So, however, I reinvented my journalistic, book writing, communicating career
Nice.
online and never looked back. And now I make a living full time online. And I've been doing so for, well, since I was 47.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. But so here's the thing: at 46, I met the love of my life, and at 50, when I was 50, he's a little 1 year younger. We married, um, and we built the family that we always wanted. It was a different family. It wasn't the way
Mhm.
we thought it was, But another thing was, and I still have the question of how did you embrace aging?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So interestingly, this love of my life happens to be bicultural, multicultural. His mother's from
Wow.
Haiti.
Hmm.
His father was from New Zealand. He was born in the Dominican Republic, but raised in Mexico and Miami. And I'm half Spanish, half American. I'm
Yeah.
bilingual. We went to
Yes.
British school. And so we
Yes.
have all this mishmash here.
Yeah.
And he's also an artist, and he's a photographer, and
Wow.
he was a photojournalist all his life. So he's kind of
Hmm.
downgraded to taking my picture now. He's a novelist, but together we raised these three kids.
Yeah.
He had one kid, I had two, and we still have those three children who
Yes.
are older. But to the point of embracing, for example, turning 50, I I was like, wow, so what can I do? Like I had reinvented my life. I
Hmm.
had gotten back on my feet. I was feeling good physically, mentally, emotionally, better
Yeah.
than in my whole life. And I was the editor in chief of a website for Latina moms called Mummyverse. The
Mm.
website is still there, but it doesn't have anybody at the helm, so to speak. But it was great.
Hmm.
And I thought, I'm 50 and I don't want to be the Latina mom. There's 20 million Latina moms. What can I do for myself? Launch my own brand now.
Mm.
That will be something I will be passionate about for at least
Yeah.
5 to 10 years. And it was
Yes.
Viva 50. And
Yeah.
Viva 50 is a website in English and
Oh,
Spanish, just because I'm bilingual,
wow.
that has articles for, I say women, but of course, whoever wants to read them is going to read
Right.
them.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be the face of the brand, because if
Okay.
I wanted to ever sell it or what have you,
Mm.
well, then I could do that. But it turns out that then I started, making money with it. It became profitable in the first year, and I'm in my ninth
Wow.
year or 10th year. But I already knew what I was doing. So when I
Yes.
launched it, and of course I had zero guarantees if it was going to work or not. But so that was my way of celebrating 50. It was, I'm launching this website. I'm going to try
Yeah.
and live off of it. Made it happen. But then things started shifting a little, as you know, and social media started being a little bit different. At the beginning, we were making money with sponsorships with the blog posts. And
Yes.
then on Twitter, doing Twitter parties and things that I don't know, probably had never heard of, but got paid thousands of dollars for hosting a Twitter party. And now that's kind of dead. But then when Instagram started taking off, I was like, oh, well, this, seems to be the way to go.
Oh,
And
right.
I kind of adopt trends, and maybe
Yeah.
as, when you speak more than one language, I think it helps wrap around social media because
Yeah.
it's
You're like,
another
I'm gonna do
language,
that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's, I think, why my head wraps around social media. So then I started embracing Instagram, and then suddenly I started realizing that I wasn't really talking to my peers, because a lot of them
Mm.
didn't want to hear that you could be healthy and vibrant and look
And
and feel great. It was younger women. And so
wow.
that was like, what? Because if I look, when brands ask me for my numbers, like who
Oh, your
follows me,
demographics, right?
my demographics are not my age and older. They are younger,
Younger. Interesting.
mainly younger. And it's like I have a good chunk of 20 to 30s, then 40s,
And
50s.
still, is that still the case?
Right now, yes.
Oh,
And the older
wow.
I get, the more younger people follow me, because these younger people are also getting older, which is
Yes.
what we don't seem to understand. And
Yeah.
so I never felt invisible. I never
Nice.
felt like I was, no, I was very happy. I was ecstatic. And when people said, "Why are you pigeonholing yourself? Why are you creating this brand called Viva 50? Why not just Viva Life?" I'm like, because there's a lot of stuff for younger women.
That's so true. And that's true. I
Why
agree with you.
now there are more people just like yourself, because everybody else is turning 50.
Yeah.
But when I was turning 50, nobody else was, well, not nobody
Yeah.
else, but very few women
Very
were out there
few.
saying, I was almost, not the only one, but definitely the only Hispanic one,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you know, anyway. So now to those people who ask me why I was pigeonholing myself, haha, you know, and I just feel that the older I get, the better it gets, because if you
Yeah.
can still stay positive and not toxic positivity, as we know,
Yeah.
life happens
Yeah.
and injuries
Yes.
happen. We lose people. All this, we already know all that.
We know
But
that.
it is
Yeah.
the act, but that's at any age. And it's
Yeah.
the act of soldiering on and being resilient in the face of life.
Yeah. Because it will
Whew.
happen. I mean, yeah, it will
Yes,
happen.
of course.
But you know what? I'm glad you're saying this because, we all age differently.
Mm-hmm.
We all have different experiences as we age. Some people just like it's challenging for them because for them, aging just is all doom and gloom. And so
Mm-hmm.
when they hear stories like ours, and that's one reason why I created 50 Shades of Over 50, they can find some kind of light in that and think, wow, okay, if they're my age and they're talking about this, maybe there is some hope for me, because not everyone is because like you, I never felt invisible. And that's why I started this,
Yeah.
because when I heard
You are
women say
not.
that,
You are
thank you.
not. That's why.
But when I would hear women say that, I was like, okay, I need to do my part to help women over. Because if you type in Google invisible woman, right next to it is invisible woman syndrome. It comes up. There's a term
Mhm.
for it. And I was actually kind of surprised. I'm like, really? There's a term for this? And
Oh my
so
goodness.
when they hear stories like this, women can realize that, but the thing is, we have to change it for ourselves. Society's not going to change it because
Yeah.
leftist society,
No.
they don't even want to hear from us. They don't, it's like they just want to put us to the side and focus on youth. And that's just because of the kind of culture we live in. It's a very youth obsessed culture. And so hearing from you, it's like, yes, I love that. It's like, it's exciting. So tell me about menopause. How was that for you? Was that like, whoo, that was
It
easy
was
breezy?
awful. It was awful. I am very honest. It was like I was, when people start saying, "Oh, in my perimenopause in my 40s," I never felt any of that. Again, maybe because I
Mm,
had kids late, because I'm
yeah.
an active person. I was
Yes.
working. I don't think I'll ever retire because I can't and because I won't. I had to file for bankruptcy when I was after my divorce.
Yeah, you
There's
said
all
that.
these
Yeah.
things. It's reality.
Yeah.
So, but to the point of that is I was fine.
Yes.
And at 52, almost honestly, from one day to the next, I was hit by crushing fatigue, creepy crawly skin, hot flashes, mood swings, lack of sex drive, crying, and everything,
Yeah.
everything. So 1 week into this, I'm like, this is BS. I am not going to live like this. I went straight to the doctor and I'm like, this is what's going on. I've already been
Did you
depressed
know what was going
before.
on though? Did you kind of know?
Yeah, of
No.
course,
Okay,
because
so
I
you
mean,
knew.
well, I knew because I was leading a magazine on this stuff,
True.
so I
True, true,
was
true.
writing
Good
about
point.
it. I'm a journalist. I mean, I was
Yes.
interviewing people. I had already written a book when I was 40 about turning 40.
Okay.
I've written 20 books, and they're mostly in
Wow.
Spanish, in Czech, in Catalan, and
Wow.
Portuguese, one
Oh,
only
I
in English.
love
But
this.
yeah, I don't talk a lot about it because it's kind of like I did it, it's done. I don't know if I had a book in me right now. The last one was written in 17 or published in 17. It's about your best age. So I mean, I've researched
Oh,
this a lot,
love
so
that.
I knew exactly what was going on, and I went to the OBGYN. Thankfully, she was this older lady who knew, because if you go to a younger person or a man,
Listen, some of them don't know. I mean, I spoke with my doctor the other day. She's like, listen, they don't teach them anything in medical school about this. So
if they haven't gone through it themselves, even a younger doctor will not understand because she's never gone through it. She doesn't understand how it
true.
feels. So this
True.
lady was like, "Do you want to die? Do you want to die? No." And of course, we're all going to die. That no,
Yeah.
it had nothing to do with dying. She's like,
Yeah.
"Do you want to end up with like a prune and depressed and like this?" I'm like, "No." So she put me on hormone replacement therapy,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
not for everyone. It is not for
Yes.
everyone for a
Yeah.
variety of reasons, by choice, or you might not be a good candidate
Right.
because maybe health
Exactly.
reasons.
Right. Right.
But I
Right.
happen to had tick all the boxes for being a good candidate. I
Yeah.
don't have high blood pressure. I don't have osteoporosis. I don't have
Yeah.
history of cancer. I don't have
Yeah.
so many things. So I went on it. I was so freaking happy. Within a week, I was myself. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. That is not to say that, of course, I still had, even taking, and to this day, I still take hormone replacement therapy, that I haven't experienced certain things that are weird, and that feel
Yeah.
weird. Like I am one of the few women I think that actually misses having a period. Like I like
Yeah,
that
probably.
predictability.
That is one thing I didn't miss. No,
I
I'm like,
miss it.
I
Like I
do
see my kids have the period things and the tampons. I'm
no.
like, oh my God, I wish I knew, because it was kind of predictable. Like I didn't have terrible
Oh,
periods. I liked it. Go figure that.
wow.
It was like a part of my femininity. Who
Yeah.
knows? But
Yes.
so I kind of miss that. But other than that, you know, I also realized that now that I'm postmenopausal, it's like when, at least in my case, I had babies and then I forgot about pregnancy. Like I don't want to,
Hmm.
I don't dwell on it. I don't, you know,
Yeah.
unless people bring it up.
Yeah.
But I'm not out there saying, oh, this and that, because I forgot. Like it's
Yeah.
been there, done that. Boom, and now I'm on
Yeah.
to the next phase.
Yeah. And just like you, I also went on hormone replacement therapy, and I'm telling you, I love it. It worked for me. And it's not, like you said, it's not for everyone, but I mean, I had a very knowledgeable doctor and we spoke about it, and I'm like, I am just so happy I went on it because
Oh my
it
God.
just it,
I
you
am
know.
like, I am dreading the day they take it away because I'm like, my hair is gonna go, you know, my skin. Because I know it does, but it also protects my bones. It protects against colon
Exactly.
cancer. It's,
Thank
you know,
you.
it has
Exactly.
advantages
It
because people
there.
only hear the
Mhm.
negatives, but
Yeah,
there are positives.
there are
So if the
positives.
positives for any person outweigh the negatives, I am there for it. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah. So that part, I'm like, yes, I love it. Like, bring it on. I'm so excited. So I was reading something on Instagram, and tell me more about this. So do you model as well? Because I saw something on Instagram about you doing this photo shoot somewhere with your agent. So tell us more about this, because I love hearing stories like this.
Okay, so what happened was that once I went full throttle into becoming a content creator, talent, communicator online, you know,
Yes.
the way it's defined has morphed over the years. First, we were bloggers, then we were
Right.
influencers, then we were whatever. But really, when it comes down to it, eh, I don't even know how to say this. If the package of what a person is portraying online is of high quality. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean high quality messaging, high quality
Yes.
pictures, high quality
Yes.
video, trying to improve everything that you do, making
Yes.
sure you're well lit, that you have a good
Yes.
microphone, that all the things, and people see you're taking it as a profession.
Mm-hmm.
I have been talent for videos. I have been a model for brands. I have created content. I'm also a certified yoga instructor. I was a fitness instructor
Yes.
when I was younger,
Yes.
became a yoga instructor. And that has brought in a lot of stuff that I do that nobody will ever see on social media, because these are programs created, for example, for AARP, and it's on their website, or
Yes.
for uh, health insurance apps that are
Yes.
giving people wellness things. So I get paid to do that
Wow.
as
Oh, I
well.
love
So I do
that.
have, yeah. So it's not only getting paid to do sponsored posts.
Yeah.
There's so, and then I'm a publisher. I have a website where not only do I get sponsorships, but we also make money with ad revenue and things like that.
Love it. Oh my good. And this all
Yeah.
started after 50, right? Most of this, more or less.
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've done so many things throughout my life that sometimes everything's like a big blur. But you know, like I've always been into dancing. I was a book author as of the age of
Oh,
30.
wow.
I was an interpreter. I was Cindy Crawford's interpreter when she went to Spain, and we were in our 20s. And you know, so
Wow.
I've worked on the TV side with an ex. I was going to say boyfriend, but you know, partner
Yeah.
years ago. So I've had the advantage of, well, living a long time and being involved in a lot of
Yeah.
different things, always in communications. So
Right.
then, you know, when you see the opportunity, you're like, oh wow, this is a window to the world. And
Mhm.
before, like I used to telecommute in the times when there were no, almost faxes were starting. We had
Yeah.
no cellular phones and
Phones.
no internet, definitely.
Yeah.
And I would work remotely using
Wow.
couriers that went on a motorcycle, taking these scripts that were for American TV sitcoms that I was translating and adapting into Spanish. And I was
Wow.
doing it from a different city, and people didn't think I could do it. I said, let me try. And I
Wow.
did. So then when the internet came around, I was like, whoa, okay, now life, it's like I feel that my whole life had internet in it
Yeah.
from the age of
Wow.
18 because I
Wow.
acted like everything was possible. And so that distances didn't matter, that if you really wanted to do something, you could do it. So I don't know. I just feel that, why not? Why
So have
can't
you
you
always been
do?
that way though? Has that always been your mantra? Like,
Yes,
it's possible. Where
yes,
do you think that came from
yes.
for you? Where do you think that came from
I
for you?
have no idea because a lot of people were saying you can't, even my own family. So I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
You know what? I hated the idea, and this is not for everyone. And I mean, and please know that I respected people who love having a job and all the rest of it. But I hated the
Mhm.
idea so much of having a regular 9 to 5 job in any industry, even an
Mm,
industry I might love, that I did everything I could in my power to prevent that from happening. And
mm.
so that made me get creative. And
Yes.
so even like I'll tell you just one anecdote. Like when I came from Spain, I moved here at 41. And even though I'm
Mhm.
bilingual, I had not lived in the United States. I'm American, but I have
Yeah,
two nationalities, but still there is something about adapting to a new culture
of
and
course.
living in it. Like the
Yes.
healthcare, the this, the red
Oh,
tape, the
yeah.
making new connections, right?
True.
So I managed to get myself noticed by local newspapers, and I was living on the other coast of Florida, in the Palm Beach Post and other
Mhm.
newspapers, and that they interviewed me as an author. And then the photographer let me know that they needed journalists, and I said, "Oh, well, I want to be a journalist." And they're like, "But you're a book author." I managed to get the editor, who was much younger than me, like by 20 years possibly,
Yeah.
to give me a chance. And I worked for them for 4 years. But here's the kicker: I had
Wow.
to interview people who lived in that area. My
Mhm.
ex husband got a job on the other side of Florida shortly after.
Yeah.
And I had to tell these people that I was moving away. And they're like, "Oh, you can't do the job then because you have to interview local people." I said, "Let me do this."
Let me do it.
And I did it for 4 years on the phone, and
Wow.
then I would do it through MySpace. I don't know if you even
Oh, yeah,
remember
yeah. I
what
remember
MySpace is.
MySpace.
Okay,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so I would find
That
people
was
through
before
there. Some of them
Facebook.
thought I
Yeah,
was,
MySpace. Oh
yes.
my word.
Some people thought I was nuts. That's how I found the people to interview. Some people did grant me the interviews, and then I would send the photographers within the area that they wanted to be. So I found a way to do it. I'm a problem
Wow.
solver.
You're
And so then
resilient for
that's why,
sure.
it's like I didn't want to lose that gig. I didn't until I was going to say the pandemic. My God, where's my brain? So then, it's just, again, when social media came around, I just figured,
Oh, you
wow, if I
fit
could
right
do all
into
that
it.
without
Listen, you were
social
doing it
media.
before social media. Come on, social media was
Exactly.
easy. Like, listen, this makes it easy for me. I can do
Yes.
this.
And maybe that's why I don't write books anymore, because what I was writing in the books is what I put out now on social media.
Yeah.
So I don't really have I have to think of something that I would have material for a whole book and not
Mhm.
just for
Yeah.
short form content. So yeah.
Yeah. I
So I
mean,
don't have a lot of patience for complainers and people who say, "Oh, I don't know." It's like,
you're
and I
like,
have my doubts. Please know I have doubts.
yes.
I
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
still do. Every time I post something, every time I do something, I feel like, "Oh my God, how are they paying me all this money for this? I don't even deserve it. How are they nuts?" And but then I'm like, "No, I produce good work. I have all these years of
Exactly.
experience, and I deserve every penny."
I love what
So
you're doing though, because this is a thing that some of us do that you did that I think is for people to notice. When we have our doubts, it's always good to actually look on the other side. That's what you're doing. Some people just focus on the
yeah,
doubts and the negative and they go down that hole. And I always say you have to give your brain equal airtime. You do the good and you do the bad. You have to do both. And when you do both, that's when you can see that, you know what? Yes, I am worth it. I'm doing a great job. That's why they're paying me. And that's what you were
yeah,
doing. And that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Love
So
it.
for what I would say to people is, and as a writer, that's always been my thing, is that when you're writing, you have to silence the editor. You have to silence the critic. That one comes afterwards when you're going to
Yeah.
edit and fix and all this. But
Mhm.
otherwise, it would paralyze us. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't do anything. Like when somebody reached out to me on Instagram the other day and said, "I would like to talk to you because for a year, I've been wondering and thinking." And I'm like, I don't even know what you're going to do, but I'm not a thinker. I'm a doer. So,
Yeah.
and
And
if I make a mistake, then I learn from it. But if I
that's
if
it.
I think about, oh, I'm going to launch Viva 50, so many people are still thinking that they from that time from 9 years ago, and they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm already almost turning 60 and thinking, what's next?
Yeah. All right. Lorraine said it. Stop thinking and just do. Really, like seriously,
Yes.
just do.
You
Especially if
make
you
a
listen.
mistake, so big deal. So
Thank you.
it's experience.
We all make mistakes. Like, okay, so what? But the thing is, the beautiful thing is, if you do it, at least you can say you made a mistake. Right now, you're
Yes.
not doing anything. Like, seriously, like just do it and see how it turns out. And guess what? It might turn out way better than you expected. And that.
Well, thing is also that we feel, there's a lot to be said about preparation and all this stuff. But most of the things I've done in my life, I did not know that I could do them. Like the first time
Mhm.
I ever, like, I didn't study to be a translator and interpreter. I didn't even study anything. I didn't go to college. So I dropped out. And I'm not saying that's the way to go. In my case, it was for mental health issues. I wish I had finished, but that did not get in the way of my doing things. Can you be an
Yes.
interpreter? Yes. I was so scared that I lost my voice walking into a room of a bunch of people, and I was in my 20s. I'm like, oh my God, I went to the bathroom. I thought I couldn't come out, relaxed myself, came out, and I did the thing. I
Yes.
just, like, I've done it so many times. I've had panic attacks presenting a book. I've, so many things and I kept
Mm.
talking even though I thought I was dying and I was losing my sight, And then I saw a
Wow.
psychiatrist, and the guy's like, okay, you got through it. So the most
Wow.
people would just crumble there and say, excuse me, I'm dying, I'm going to leave, right? But I did it. And so then I lost the fear of panic attacks. I'm like, okay, I have
Mm.
them, but I can get through them. I also take
Yeah.
medication, but
Yeah.
sometimes even that's not enough. So it's
Right.
like, it's not that I'm not scared. It's not that I don't have doubts. It's not that I'm a superwoman. I'm a human being, but I have learned that if I let the even today, when I told her I wasn't feeling that great, and I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I should just tell her. But I know, I said I committed. I said I was going to do this, and unless I were like on my deathbed, I am showing up.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be so common.
No, it's
And
not.
so,
It's not.
it's like you said you were going to do something, just freaking do it. If somebody says, "Can you do blah blah blah," and you think you can do it like a tiny bit, maybe you could do it. Go do it.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Just a tiny bit. Yeah, do it. You don't have to know all of it. You figure it out. And I
No.
love that. I mean, I'm so glad you showed up today. Because even me, I'm like inspired. I'm like, yes, let's go. It's like, because it's
Well, you
inspiring to
inspire
hear,
me
you
too.
know?
You know, I
It's
look
just,
at your videos and just the way I was like, wow, well, she's gonna have enough energy for the both of us if I end up not having energy,
but thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope the people listening are really I know you guys are getting a lot out of this because she's just letting you know that, listen, she's scared too. We're all scared.
Yes,
We all have the fear.
yes,
No one is out there like, yes, I got this. Like, really? No, we have the fear, but we're doing it anyway, you know?
exactly. And
Yeah.
also, nobody's out there, like I've been doing a lot of crazy things lately. Like I have had a problem with my shoulders in the past year, and that could have hindered me from doing other things. But I thought, okay, I can't do handstands right now, which was something I was working towards and learned how to do at 57. And then I got injured, and I'm like, man. So then I started rollerblading. Then I fell down, but then I said, okay, well, let me go back to dancing. And so I'm doing there's so many
Yeah.
things we can do. I was just
Yeah.
watching yesterday one of your interviews with somebody else, the yoga instructor, and I was like, she's so right. If this doesn't work, do that. If
Do
your knee
that.
hurts, use your shoulder. If your shoulder doesn't work, move your fingers.
Yeah.
And the
That's
same
it.
goes with everything else, and
Yeah.
find people who will say yes, do it.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big one. Surround yourself with people like that because the people around you, they have the power to kind of encourage you or discourage you. And so you have to
They
kind
do.
of be mindful of the people you surround yourself with. So true. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was great. I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
you came on today. And thank you
Me
everyone for
too.
listening. And I look forward to seeing all of you next week for our next episode. But thank you so much, Lorraine. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate
No,
it.
thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
then.
you.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much for watching an episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. I invite you to join our online community called Flourish, a community created exclusively for women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. A place where you'll get to pursue your passion and live your purpose with other like-minded women. If you're not sure what your purpose or passion is, not to worry. I share tools to help you with that. Flourish is the best place to learn, grow, and have fun if you're in your 50s and beyond. Go to www.kwavi.tv/flourish to learn more.